What's up, everyone? Mike Harvey here, Mike and Tom Show. First time we're doing this early morning, but we're going to be doing this every single day, coming to you Monday through Friday from now on. And we're a little bit late because this is kind of our dry run, our test run, if you will. But we got Tom over in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. All you Tennesseans that are out there watching, I'm here in Bakersfield, California, still for the moment in the studio. We got a new producer with us, Layla Ranger. We love Layla. She's awesome. We love her family. But we got a dynamic show coming up for you, so stay tuned, and we'll see you right in just a second.
There we go. The Mike and Tom Show. Hope you like our logo, Mike. Miss you, brother. I'm looking at the studio.
I know.
Yeah.
Tom, we've been doing this and doing it without you. It's different, but you're here in spirit, and the rest of the guys don't get to talk to you nearly as much. We're still in conversation every single day, but guys, you're out there watching. We got some cool stuff coming up for you. I got several incredible dynamic guests coming up, and we got some information for something really cool that we're going to be giving away here later on in the show. So stay tuned for that. But Tom, you want to talk about what your first topic is?
Well, no, I just want to talk about being here in Tennessee. We had a journey here, my wife and I, and my dog Oliver, Brandy, and our two cats, Rocky and Zuri. And we had a little difficulty in Albuquerque and had to visit the vet and spend a night there. That we
You never told me that.
I know I've never told you that because I don't tell you everything, Mike. I just keep some of the stuff. So it's been, my wife and I have a saying now, Mike, and I think you've heard me say it, where we're saying never again. That means never again moving, never again driving across country with two dogs, two cats. I will ship them next time. If you want to talk to me about moving across country, I'd love to talk to you because I've got so much more to give. And
I've done it a couple times, Tom.
Yeah, well, excited about a couple of things. Something I'm not excited about is being in Bakersfield with this heat, Michael. What the heck? Everybody's sitting.
Record-breaking heat over here, bro.
Check it out. 112 and 15. I heard you guys almost lost the grid, the electrical grid.
Oh, yeah. Well, you've been here when that's happened, so that's not even new. But our great state of California, we can't even figure out how to keep the electrical on. So
I'm gonna start calling him your governor, Mike. Your governor.
He ain't my governor. He's the governor of my state currently, but he ain't my governor. Hey, I wanted to mention something to you real quick. If you're out there watching this live, by the way, we're taking live questions, we're taking comments, all this stuff. So, we want to interact because this is a live show. In the future, we're going to be doing emails and callers and everything else. But Tom, keep going, keep rolling.
Well, we just saw Bakersfield, so I'd like you to know how it's doing here in Tennessee. I live in Christiana, Tennessee. We've got a little compound, a little farm, 15 acres, and went and met with our builder yesterday. Turned out really well. Super great thing. Mike, at the front desk, and I'll bring this up tomorrow, at the front desk of Summertown Construction, they had I'm going to bring this up tomorrow because I'm going to show you this. When I walked in, they had a little poster, a flyer up that said prayer at 6:55.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, what the heck? So just check out. Don't go put, Layla, if you can't put that back up. So today it's going to be a comfortable 87. It's going to be 85% humidity. Mike, I'm getting used to that.
You're like in a swimming pool over there. Like your fresh air is a swimming pool. At least we don't got the humidity, but it is hotter than snot.
But there again, I always tell people when I used to do announcements at the church, I'd say, hey, just check out the first. What is it? 5 letters of our name of our city. Baker, Baker. You're baking and you're a baker if you're in Bakersfield, California.
Well, I think Baker, California is actually probably hotter, but nobody lives there.
So there again, Mike, I love the new weather app because it has a humidity there, but it says it feels like it's 78 here. So I'll just put it in perspective.
You think that app's new? It might be new to you.
No, but I just have to bring data for you because you don't believe it unless it's there on data. So.
I do. But Tom, this has been a journey, right? So we're excited about everything going on here, and it has been incredibly hot. But if you're in Bakersfield, some of the people here like don't have or AC, and some of them are losing electricity. But there are cooling centers, but gosh, who wants to go to that, right? But even for us, like we have a AC that's supposed to be more, higher Sears or whatever. I don't know technicalities. I'm not an AC technician, but it has trouble keeping up. So we got to turn it on in the morning. And I talked to David Bowen yesterday, by the way, and he's going to be on the show in the future as well. But
I love David.
And I talked to Jody, and they're like, yeah, well, you got to turn it on in the morning early, or else it won't be able to keep up. So it looks like we got new people joining us too. By the way, I want to say, if you're out there watching us live, thank you, first of all. Second of all, again, we're taking live questions. So if you guys have questions, or if you guys have input for the show or anything, we're going to be doing this every week, and we want to interact with y'all. So, Tom, we're still talking about the weather.
No. We're just talking about the difference of Tennessee and California, which should be obvious. I think we're going to bring in a couple of examples of that during our show. But I got to say hi to all of our friends here, Jeb and Alan, and all the group that people love in Nashville. I'm starting to
you got to bring some video from that event, Tom, if you got it. I saw some photos from Jeb the other night, and they're doing some awesome things. You want to share with our viewers and listeners?
If you're in the Nashville area or surrounding, of course, for me, it's a 31-minute drive, but it's worth it because they're right down by the river, by the new the Titan Stadium. They're building it, but the old one, the Nissan Stadium. And they go out there and they feed. They have so many volunteers. Mike, there was probably 100, 150 volunteers there, and they probably prepared 400 to 600 meals for the homeless there. And it's a problem there like anywhere else, but they've got showers that they allow the guys to take showers. They have laundry now, where they get their laundry done once a week. And there again, Mike, the humidity makes that a little more difficulty here. In Bakersfield, you may get hot. You may, keep your shirt, but here they have to throw it away each day. So they give out clothes. They have the veterinarian opportunities. They have free legal assistance there. They have medical. They just provide so much for the homeless population here in Nashville. So just kind of great shout out to the group. And they got a new logo, Mike. It's pretty cool. And they call it the PLN. People loving Nashville.
Yeah, so, I was talking with Pastor Adrian the other day. By the way, if you guys haven't caught Ministry Matters show, we're doing that every other Monday, talking all the ministry stuff. So we had a really cool show this past week. But Adrian and I got a chance to hang out together, and he's got some people he wants you to hook up with. But there's another guy that's out there that I believe but Adrian wants to get you two connected. That has another ministry doing the showers. So I think they might be a good addition to
that'd be cool.
PLN. So anyway, you guys go check out Ministry Matters when you get a chance. If you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on Instagram, you can go back a couple days and you can see that.
It's kind of interesting, Mike, being the perspective out here, because me, I'll always check in with the guys, make sure the shows are good. You're there, Layla's there to make sure the shows go off. But it's really kind of an interesting thing to see it from a different view. I get a lot more out of it as I'm watching it. So if you're out there, we have a lot of shows that you'll probably be interested in. We got Johnny Rizzo. He's on Mondays, every other Monday, with Mentality Unleashed. Always have great audiences. Dr. Rizzo, Psychology. Then we also have Scott Garcia and Marshall. They did a great show yesterday called United Opposition. And then we, of course, then we have Muscle Matters. And now that we are back up with our video tech and directors, we might get Blake back in with Train to Win. We haven't been able to do his show on Friday.
I haven't with him on Friday. So, we have actually two new producers in here. I want to give them both a great shout out because they're great additions. Layla Ranger and Darius Brown. So both of them are doing a fantastic job, and they're learning very, very quickly. They got a crash course from Josh last week, and they were like, we're supposed to figure this out. I was like, nah, I'm going to help you.
Well, the things we're excited about is bringing our guests. We have a lot of new guests. We've got a show that we're going to do with Mike Boudreaux. I think this week, Mike, I'd like to put up Mike Boudreaux stopping his election campaign and sponsoring Vince Fong. I think that was a humble Christian move that Mike Boudreaux did.
Yeah, I haven't had an opportunity to connect with him, but we've been playing a little bit of phone tag. But I did talk to Adrian about reconnecting with Randy Martin, and we're going to be getting him in studio as well. And speaking of Randy Martin, I got to mention Covenant Coffee. We've been promoting them. We've been doing some collaboration with them for quite a long time now. But covenantcoffee.org, if you guys get a chance to go check them out online, they do ship nationwide. They have K-cups. They have bags of coffee. Their coffee is phenomenal. But what's even better than that is their mission. They support emancipated foster youth, which if you guys aren't aware, which I imagine most of our viewers are probably aware, Tom, but if you guys aren't aware of the emancipated foster youth and what goes on with them, they're the leaders in the statistics for suicide, drug overdose, homelessness, and all of these things and much more. So Randy provides jobs for these guys. Randy does training and life training and mentoring and all of these things. But if you guys want to support that ministry, Covenant Ministries, one of the easiest ways for you to do that is go out and support covenantcoffee.org. Or go visit them if you're in Bakersfield at Northchester, or right across the street from us at California Mohawk. They just took over Cloud9 and Cloud9 by Covenant Coffee. So, and I know there's an event coming up in there, actually at Cloud9 real soon. So if you guys want to support those guys, go over there. Again, they're California Mohawk. They're on Northchester. I believe they have one more location, but covenantcoffee.org if you're outside of Bakersfield, and you can order online. And we're gonna be doing some more promo and some more stuff with them in the future to be able to provide all of you guys with more value, but also be able to provide Covenant Coffee with more value as well. So.
Well, Mike, I'm kind of jealous because we started using Covenant Coffee Cloud9 as our meeting places. We were meeting with a lot of people, and a really nice atmosphere. So if you're having a business meeting or just something casual, drop in there and just be able to support them because they are doing a great thing. Mike, I think it's exciting to know that the things that we're going to be able to bring now to our audience is going to involve things like, as we talked about, Sheriff of Tulare County, Mike Boudreaux. He was in the congressional race for Kevin McCarthy's seat, and there again, Vince Fong won the interim, but they were supposed to have a runoff in November. Mike Boudreaux basically stopped his campaign, endorsed Vince, but he's digging back in with us at 511 Media. And I think that's a big deal, Mike.
He is.
Because
we love this man. This man is a sold out believer, and he lives it in every moment in his entire career. And he's a real deal. Tom and I have been around him quite a bit. And the level of professionalism, I think he's a consummate professional in everything he does. He does everything with excellence. But I also believe that, and not just believe, I know for a fact because I've spent enough time with him, that he puts the Lord first in every area of his life.
He does, Mike. And I'm kind of, as I tell people everywhere I go, and I'm getting a chance to dig in with a lot of people here in Nashville. Mike and I are going to be starting a Nashville studio, which, hang on, get ready to listen to a lot of things that we're doing because we're going places. We're even going to be international. That's going to be so cool, Mike. And we'll talk more about that because we have a guest coming on, I think, Friday. That's going to be able to do a new addition to our 511 Media family. So as Mike Boudreaux is out there, he's suspending his congressional efforts to become a congressman, and we're starting a podcast with him called 6 Point Gold Star. And so as we start that podcast, I believe it's going to be Monday at 5. I think that's what we settled on, Mike. We'll come back to you to make sure that's it. But Mike's got some amazing guests that are going to talk about turning California red again. I mean, there again, if you're out there and you've been watching some of this, it's not even, Mike and I think you and I've coined a term. It's not even right and wrong or left and right. It's basically good versus evil in some cases.
Yeah, I think that is pretty prevalent. Yeah, and you're making me think of a whole bunch of stuff here, but
well, but we're going to get to say this daily, so we're going to let you guys in on our thoughts daily on this kind of stuff. But then we're going to be actually bringing to you another podcast. They're both going to drop in August, and it's going to be with Pierre Wilson.
Pierre Wilson Unchained.
Pierre Wilson Unchained. Now, Pierre Wilson is the director. He's the person doing the directing for Turning Point Faith. He's also the director for Blexit. So we're going to be excited to talk about these shows that are coming up. But Mike, tell them about where you're going to go. And we do have a little, maybe we'll play the commercial first. What do you think?
Yeah. So we're doing something. And speaking of Pierre, we're gonna be involved. And what level of involvement? We've been pretty involved with these guys for a long time, but yeah. Love what these guys are doing. Love their mission. But we're gonna roll a quick little clip for you guys to kind of see. And Layla, this will be clip number 4.
26 to 127, and God made us in his image. We are image bearers of the divine, and therefore, by the way, that means every single life, born and unborn, must be protected.
You're repeating history. Governments across the world have abandoned God, and the consequences of abandoning God is slavery, it's oppression, it's sin celebrated.
Only acceptable form of Christianity in American culture is a neutered one that refuses to bring Christian ideas into the public square, one that refuses to apply Christian principles to public life, who sits down as people's bodies are butchered, or better yet, celebrates these things. But that is not Christianity. It never has been, and it never will be. Christianity is a lived out faith, and it is an outspoken faith. In fact, we worship the Word made flesh, Jesus Christ.
The gospel is confrontational. We cannot sit idly by and allow the world to creep into the church and convince us to lose the power that we have through God's word.
Isn't that so true, Mike?
Yeah. So I saw a lot of our friends on there, Tom.
A lot of our guests. We had Pierre.
Pierre. I'm connecting with Bill Federer later today, I believe.
I love that.
So and he'll be on our show. He's an amazing dynamic speaker, and he'll be speaking at West Palm Beach, Florida, in a couple weeks. So the event is July 26th or 28th. I just booked my flights last night. Actually, my daughter's getting to go with me, so that's exciting. And we see Renata here. Renata, we love you. Thank you for being here, supporting everything we do always. But we're giving away. We have
this is exciting, very exciting.
We have the privilege, the opportunity, and the responsibility, I guess you could say in a way, of helping promote this program and the show with Pierre and with all of their group. We're giving away, and we'll be doing this today for anybody who comments, and I'm going to give it till midnight tonight for you guys to comment. And if you comment hashtag 511 media in the comments, and whatever platform you're on, if that's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or wherever you see this, you'll be entered for a raffle, and we'll be announcing this tomorrow morning, the raffle, who was the winner for this. But we're giving away a VIP ticket for the show. And with the VIP ticket, it's amazing. Tom and I have been had the privilege, and Renata as well, of being VIP at these events several times. VIP is where you want to be when you're there, but it's a $300 value, and you'll have the opportunity to rub shoulders with pretty much all of the guest speakers and a lot of people that are influential, a lot of people you want to be networking with. So hashtag 511 media, and on whatever platform you're watching this on, and we're going to draw a name tomorrow morning at our next live stream of who's gonna go with us, with me, not Tom, but with me and Renata and my daughter and Renata's daughter and many more. There should be probably close to a couple thousand people there, and we're gonna do this thing. So if that's you, if you're interested, check it out. If you want more info, we're gonna have the link available in the comments as well. And if you're watching, Renata, is there any chance you could drop that link for us? We also have a promo code. So if you want to just
for our audience, that's for our audience, we're getting a discount.
For our audience alone. If you want to join us, there's a 25% discount, and it's the code is, Tom, is it 51125?
51125. So you go out and register 51125, and there's a 25% discount because you have to register. The VIP pass is something that we're giving away as 511 Media, but you do have to register, but it's worth it. If you want to be impactful, especially these next 4 months, Mike, that we're coming up on, you want to be engaged. I tell that thought to people nowadays, Mike, because we support Turning Point Faith, we support Blexit, we support Turning Point USA. I mean,
Turning Point Action
and Turning Back. They're all engaging the American people in the battle, and we believe as 511 Media, because our company is based on the biblical verse, 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Which we know the work that you're doing and that you continue to do for the saints. We're going to go out there. We're amplifying people's voices that are important in these next 4 months. And then after, Mike, I keep hearing from people over and over again that this is probably the most impactful presidential election in the history of our country.
Yeah. And Tom, there's so much to unpack here, but what I will have to say, look, you see you guys talking about the election. We'll kind of get into this because this is something that's near and dear to probably most of our hearts and most of you guys watching. And if you're watching this, you're probably not these people, but I bet y'all have friends that have at least missed at least one election, right? Encourage people to vote. Yes, it looks like Trump is going to win by a landslide, but remember 2020, right? And we all thought that at this point in 2020, and look at what happened. So we want to make sure that the numbers of voters out there, and especially if you're in a swing state, right? California is, almost irrelevant. Tennessee's in its own right. It's relevant, but they're going to go red, right? Praise God. There's a few other states, but if you're out there, make sure you vote. And the thing is, vote early, right? If you can get a mail-in ballot, which is pretty much everybody, go ahead and do it. Because what happens if you are like, hey, I always vote, but there's an accident, or you blow out your tire, or something comes up, and that's one less vote, and extrapolate that across the millions of people in the USA. And guaranteed something is going to happen to a certain percentage of the population. If you can vote early, vote early. Hey, the Democrats are going to take advantage of this mail-in voting. The Democrats are going to pull some shenanigans. Guaranteed there's going to be an October surprise. We got all sorts of things up in the air. Do you guys want Kamala in the White House? Do you guys want potentially Gavin in the White House? They're talking about Clinton being a running mate for Kamala. You guys want another Clinton episode? Get out there and vote. It's so critical, so important. And I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse. And guess what? I'm going to beat a dead horse for a while here, because the importance of this election is monumental. And it's going to shape, like, we're already in a bad place with the economy. We're already in a bad place in so many areas across the U.S. And I'm in California, so I get the worst of it, right? But if you are an able-bodied citizen, because only citizens should be voting, ridiculous if that's even a conversation, right? But if you're able to, get out and vote, because we have to just overwhelm the system, because there's going to be some shenanigans. We all know that. If you're watching this show, you probably know that too.
Well, you know what's interesting, Mike, is we've been placed in a position, I do believe, we've been asked to make a lot of people that have opinions and ideas like us, we've been asked by a lot of people that have a lot of input into what's going on is going to happen to make other people's voices louder. Right, Mike? People have come to us and said, can you actually broadcast these podcasts? These podcasts there's great hosts out there, but they just don't have the amplification of their voice. And we believe that's one of the reasons God's given us an audience and a voice that's loud. So, Mike, I want to play on something if you don't mind. You said that you were beating a dead horse. And you know me, I love horse analogies in there, but there's a chance, and you hit on this too, that they could switch horses on us. But speaking of a dead horse, we got Sleepy Joe. I'm gonna start calling him Sleepy Joe, Mike.
Weekend at Biden's.
Yes. So we got a first picture I want to bring up because this is older news, but it's still relevant. So let's go ahead and bring this picture.
You know what clip number it is, Tom? So help lay it out.
It was the first one that I sent over. There it is. Multiple ranking Democrats on House committees want Biden to step aside. This is nothing new. We saw the debate. We were all aghast, like, oh no. I thought it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. And
Tom, it was devastating.
Well, you saw people in the Democratic Party ask for his resignation, him to step aside that night. But then, Mike, it's crazy because we've had so many other things transpire since then, because we've seen the Biden inner circle kind of push back a little bit on some of this. But then you started to see the inner workings of the Democratic, or what should I say, communist news network, CNN, start to say things we've never heard. We got a video, if we could, Layla, if you could go ahead and play this next video that was from CNN. And Mike knows me. If you're part of our audience, I like to bring in the voice of people that disagree with us. I mean, that's always been me. And Mike and I've always talked about this. But if you have that, Layla, or you can bring it up when we can, because I can talk about this all day long. Because some of the Democrats...
Bring it up, Layla.
People feel like the White House hasn't been candid.
Absolutely. I mean, as someone, we've talked about this before, someone that's reported on his age for the last 3.5 years, as a reporter, I feel... especially in retrospect, after watching the debate, I have been met by gaslighting, a lot of deflecting, at times not even telling the truth about the president's schedule. And we've all been talking about this whole thing about the president from 10 to 4. I mean, I reported that a year ago, but no one really paid much attention to it. And the fact is that, and this is also what is added to the turmoil inside this White House, because there is incredible frustration, especially among the people that really love Joe Biden, that have been with him for a long time, that if people within the inner circle knew that he had some of these moments, that knew that there was even a 5% chance that what happened on Thursday night was going to happen, and they let him go on that stage and humiliate himself in front of the entire world, and they let him do it anyway, there is tremendous anger and sadness among the people that have worked for Joe Biden, believe in his legacy, that they let him go out there and do it.
So, Michael, as you hear that, now we've all been keeping up with the news. If you haven't, we'll help you keep up with it. they have all now done an about face because, he had a babysitter for his children when they were young, and it was Jill Biden, his wife now, but now she's babysitting him again. She has two roles as a babysitter in the Biden family's life, but we all know there's something wrong. I mean, it's only obvious. Now, people are coming out repeatedly now, and there again, the Democrats have basically started to not talk about it. They're having meetings about getting a way to not let him be their candidate. And it's funny because there's a Senator, Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia. He was reaching out to colleagues last week about meeting to discuss Biden's future amid calls for him to step down after the debate. But all of a sudden, they had a meeting with the governors and he said, I'm not. And now they're to stepping back from it. So like they're trying to say it didn't happen, Mike. I mean, to me,
Tom, at this point, the entire media, they're pretty much running over Joe Biden. They're done with this guy. But they have a massive problem. They have multiple massive problems right now. One, if they admit that they know that he's incompetent and they don't remove him, it's problematic for them because, frankly, it's treason, right? But simultaneously, who do they get to replace him? Because there's an issue with the money, right? Because they need money to run their campaigns, and that money isn't just so easy as Biden gives it to somebody else. That's not how this works in the campaign world, right? And we'll have some more experts on later in the week and next week and as we go on to talk about some of this stuff, but. You can't just transfer that money. So really the only person who could take that over at this point is Kamala Harris, and nobody likes Kamala. Everybody's done with Joe, but at least some of them have liked him in the past. Nobody likes Kamala. So if they hand that off to Kamala, Trump will win even more against her. He's already going to win, but I mean, at least right now, the way the polling is, right? We can't predict the future and we can't predict what shenanigans they're going to pull, but what we can predict is, where we're at right now. And the polling shows like such a strong lead that, we're just going to have to overwhelm the system because the shenanigans that's going to be pulled, we know that's coming. We know the October surprise is coming. Joe came out several months ago and said there's another pandemic coming. How did he know that? Was that part of the plan? He wasn't supposed to say that, right? But if you're watching this show, most likely you're very well aware of the fact that something's going on with Joe. Have you heard about Tom, the Parkinson's doctor that's visited the White House multiple times? They don't just go there for no reason. And the thing is, and I've heard this from a few different sources. You can't go and see a doctor inside the White House. You're going to have to go outside the White House because the exam room that's inside the White House is for the president and the president alone. There is absolutely zero chance that somebody else is going to get a checkup there. Why has this doctor been visiting? And they've come out with a bill now promoting Parkinson's. Well, that's CYA, and that's all that is, right? And when I say promoting Parkinson's, we're promoting overcoming Parkinson's. Let me clarify that. But thank you, Renata, for dropping that link. By the way, if you guys are still watching and you guys are here, you want to go to Believer Summit. We just played a clip on that. We'll be dropping that later. But the only person that can really take this over is Kamala. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Tom, or if any of you guys watching this have noticed this. Let us know in the comments if you guys have. But they have started promoting Hillary Clinton again. She was in obscurity, irrelevant for how long, and now all of a sudden she's bubbling back to the top. Why is that? Because they're looking at, most likely, looking at her as being a running mate for Kamala.
They're scrambling, like you said. They're getting ready to switch horses if they do that. Well, Mike, I'm glad you brought up the Parkinson's things because I do have great friends, and so do you, that have this disease, and it is something that is very severe. And they've made great strides with treatment of this disease. My mom had dementia, and then I had a lot of experience with that. And learned that there's a difference between dementias and Alzheimer's. And so as we see that, and you get older, your mental capacity diminishes, Mike. And I think you would probably throw that my way, because I do.
You stay sharp. You make a point to keep yourself sharp, Tom.
Well,
I'm not going to jab you like that on air.
There are ways to do that, Mike. And I started doing my morning pumps again yesterday. And so I'm going to start coming back out with some ways to hopefully turn back your inner clock. There again, they say that we all have an outer clock, which is our age, but the inner clock can be reset also. But they had a interview this week with Stephanopoulos. I always like that guy's name because that's one. Well, but Mike, you know how I do have a speech impediment, and there's a lot of names that I can't pronounce, but that was one that I do think that I can get right because
you did fantastic. Yeah,
I did. But he was caught after he'd had an interview, and he kind of pitched a few softballs at President Joe Biden. And Joe hit him back pretty hard at him, if I could use that analogy. So he got a little tougher, but off camera, TMZ has this, which is always a great one. How do they get this stuff, Mike? But off camera, Stephanopoulos was caught saying, I don't think he can serve another 4 more years. So
we don't know if he can serve another 4 more months, Tom.
Well, I'm just saying, here's part of that group. And as we all saw yesterday, that's why I think we can't forget that debate. And a lot of them, people would like that to be in their rearview mirror, especially the Democrats. But you can't forget it because it's going to continue to live with it. So now I guess what's happening, and that's why we can call him Sleepy Joe, is that Biden's starting to there again, the CNN reporter said that he reported on the 10 to 4 schedule that Joe was keeping, but now Joe's not going to meetings that probably he should go to, because he's resting up for the next debate. I think he's preparing. I love to prepare, but that's over preparation, I do think, because he canceled an appointment with the German chancellor. I mean, these are people that if you're going to go to Europe, you probably want to meet with. You don't want your schedule, at least schedule between 10 and 4, right? Yeah. Not just say, hey, I'm going to bed and I'm out, right? I don't know. I there again, I do take naps. If I'm left alone to my own self-supervision, there will be a moment, and I've done it several times because I've worked very hard moving here to Tennessee. I'll lay down, but I do those 20-minute power naps. I call them caffeine naps. I'll have caffeine and usually a cup of coffee, and then 20 minutes later, when the caffeine kicks up, I wake up. So I'm thinking maybe Joe Biden or somebody, if you're listening and you want to pass that on.
Well, what you're not taking into consideration, Tom, is Joe's like 20 years older than you, roughly.
See, no, Mike, I do take that into consideration because I know how I feel at 66. Yeah. And I do believe I try to keep myself. I go to the gym. I'm sporting my Gold's Gym shirt today because guess what? I'm back at a Gold's Gym. I walked into my first Gold's Gym in Santa Monica, second location of Gold's Gym, when I was 17, turning 18 years old. And I haven't trained at a Gold's probably since the late 80s.
You're reliving your glory days, Tom.
No, I'm not, because no one knows I'm there. but I love it that there's 2 locations in Murfreesboro, Mike. So you're not be training at Gold. My son-in-law trains there. So it's just those things. I just threw that in as some trivial stuff, Mike. So,
yeah. So you were talking about Joe, but the thing is, Tom, who's pushing this? Who's pushing the thing with Joe? And a lot of us, you and I definitely believe that it's Dr. Jill. But she loves the attention. She loves the limelight, but also like there's so many factors at play here, right? Did you know that Dr. Jill has her own entrance theme song when she comes on stage as well, which is abnormal. Yeah, she does. So that's super abnormal. But there's been so many things that we've seen lately of like she's been in on some very confidential meetings that frankly the first lady shouldn't be in on unless she's there, but she's there to basically hold Joe's hand because he's incompetent. And if you guys think I'm wrong, go ahead and let me know in the comments, but I don't think I'm wrong, and I frankly don't really care what y'all think because I'm going to have my own opinion. But if you want to be Larry out there and try to
Larry, where are you?
That so
we'll get Larry back.
But they need because the Hunter trial hasn't happened yet either, right? And that probably conviction is going to happen. He's already been convicted of some gun charges, some other stuff, some felony charges, but the other charges haven't happened yet, or the charges have, but the conviction hasn't happened yet, and that's pretty close to guaranteed. They're trying to hold out also for a pardon card, right? So Joe wants the money, Joe wants the attention, and there's a lot of corruption happening at the highest levels. But Joe, frankly, in my opinion, I don't care what y'all think. If you guys disagree with me, you can let me know in the comments, or you can even email me, whatever. But he's incompetent. He's incapable of running the country. He's incapable of running his own life. He can't even walk around like a normal human being, and yet we have him in office. It's criminal, the fact that he's still in office and someone hasn't done something about it. However, at the same time, I'm like, well, I kind of like him in because he's beatable. But we have differing opinions about that. So,
Well, Mike's referring to we have our own microphones. We heard Charlie Kirk one time tell people that if you want to let your opinion be known, get your own microphone. So we have microphones, and we have been canceled before, Mike. So as you brought it up, Mike, and you said that there's some shenanigans going on. We've seen the Supreme Court come in lately, haven't we?
Oh yeah, they did a great thing, in my opinion.
The Supreme Court, I kind of sometimes equate to Queen Esther or Mordecai, when Mordecai told Queen Esther, maybe you're around for a time like this, because they are starting to drop some bombs. The one they dropped the other day, which I think is just a no-brainer, and Mike, we've talked about this too much. A judge blocks Biden administration from adding gender identity to Title IX, only 2 sexes. So the last time I said that, I got whacked off of TikTok. And I've never been back, but I hope I don't get us whacked off here. Rob McCoy got us whacked off, but they're seeing it. The court's now saying you can't loop that in with Title IX, which is there to protect women in sports. And what is the very thing that they've been trying to do to take the ability of a biological female competing in a sport against other females away from them?
Well, they're still trying to cram that down our throats. That's been rejected by the Supreme Court, but now they're trying to do it by executive order, Tom.
Well, I know, but I'm saying you have the shenanigans out there, Mike. You do have the Supreme Court that's basically, smacking the ball back, right? It's there. Today, I talked to my wife about this one, Mike. The Supreme Court curbed federal oversight of schools, and this is a big deal. It was in USA Today. And so, Mike, when you start having the Supreme Court starting to say, okay, we even heard Donald Trump talk about it and making some overhauls at the federal education system, which is, I do think that there is some modicum of responsibility at certain levels, but not when you're trying to use it as a weaponized organization against people that are trying to do the right thing. I mean, they really are.
They're talking about getting rid of the Department of Education altogether, and I think that would be a good thing.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, now you're seeing the Supreme Court come in and start to make some rulings that are going to start to give some basically some what's the word I'm looking for? I want to be careful with this word. They're giving some credence to some of the things that have been done that aren't right. They're saying basically, nah, we're not following that. Girls are going to compete with girls. You're not going to include it in Title IX. And schools are going to be a little more about education than about gender affirmation. So they're trying to sneak that stuff in. So if you're out there, you need to be able to know that if Joe's not making these decisions, who are? Mike's saying it's all Jill, but I think it's like they've said it's a deep state thing. I mean,
I don't think it's all Jill. I think Jill's the one pushing Joe to continue to stay in the race, and she's leading him around by the nose, literally by the hand, but figuratively by the nose. But I don't think that she's the one pulling all the strings. She doesn't have all the money, right? But the big tech and all of the donors are backing it. They're not even taking Joe's calls anymore. So everyone's kind of bailed on Joe, but Joe doesn't want to back out of the race.
Well, they're turning off the spigot to the money.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, you do that, you'll get their attention. What I'm talking about, Mike, is the acronym organizations, the ones that are out there. You have the FBI, which we all recognize has been weaponized. Look at Donald Trump. Look at the documents thing. I mean, Donald Trump's being on trial for it because he had them, but Sleepy Joe isn't on trial because they said he's an elderly old man.
He's not competent to stand trial, only to run the country.
So and now it's a big deal that the American public can't listen to the voice transcripts. I mean, tell me you're not trying to hide something there. I mean, it's like the Kennedy thing, right? They keep putting it off. What are they putting off? They just don't want us here. So that you've got a lot of these alphabet acronym agencies that are out there. And one that I'm very proud of my new state is that the DEI, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Group, Tractor Supply. kind of bought into this. And, I like Tractor Supply because they have a lot of good stuff. I mean, I'll be getting a lot of horse supplies from them, but they bought into this, and Tennessee pushed back. They said no. And so Tractor Supply, which is based in Tennessee, basically reversed their decision to pay attention to their DEI director and move away from that, just because the Tennesseans basically said no. I guess the CEO, Hal Lawton, wrote a guest opinion column for the USA Today network in Tennessee about this, and he kind of got a lot of pushback, which is congratulations for Tennesseans. I mean, they do. It's one of those things too, Mike. Being in Tennessee, I pay a lot of attention to the news. That a judge rules against releasing the writings of the Covenant school shooter. We all know that there's a problem there. In Tennessee, you hear people talk about this a lot more than you do outside of Tennessee. But they had somebody that identified with the opposite gender who came in and killed people, wrote a manifesto, but they won't release all the details on it, Mike. They won't.
Yeah.
But guess what your state did, Mike?
What now?
They had a pride parade.
Oh, well, what's that, every weekend?
No, this was in the pride capital of the world, San Francisco.
Right.
And they had it around a kid zone where they had fetishes and they were urinating in public. I think we have a video of a tenant group, media group, that went out to ask the police department if there was a problem with nudity.
Go ahead and bring it up, brother.
So obviously there's a lot of nudity around here, men, women, transsexual stuff going on. And there's kids, wandering around the event. I'm not sure on San Francisco's laws or California's laws, is it legal for nudity to be presented in front of kids?
Nudity is legal, yeah, within certain boundaries.
What are the boundaries?
Wow.
Anything coupled with a lewd act or anything being done for sexual gratification that involves other people. Basically.
Okay, but this event wouldn't be considered for sexual gratification.
No, if they're walking around and it's out, that's right. That'd be different than if they're masturbating or if they're forcing, flashing people, right? Like trying to get their attention, flashing. But no,
even with kids, it's fine to be nude as long as there's no masturbation or
anything. Did you hear her say with it out?
Yeah.
You're not masturbating. I'm like, come on. You can't even use your half a brain. It's wrong.
Tom, let me ask you a question. If I walked around Bakersfield,
you'd get arrested.
From the waist down, I'd get arrested, right?
Mike, there's something else that would happen. You get beat up first, probably.
Probably, and hopefully. I would be all for that.
but here you've got law enforcement saying, no, there's no problem with that. We're like, what the heck?
Yeah. Is this some woke law enforcement officials, or is this just like they don't agree with it either, but they're being forced into a corner and they have to do what they have to do?
Well, Mike, I think one of the points I'm trying to bring out here is if you are looking to switch horses as a Democratic Party, one of the horses that they're thinking about switching to is Gavin Newsom.
Oh, good grief!
But is it? but wasn't he mayor of this fine city?
Yeah, and they saw what he did to the city, and they
elected him.
That they should elect him governor, and now they're saying, well, maybe he should be president of the whole darn thing.
Well, but Mike, isn't that great? We're going to be having a show from Mike Boudreaux because he's telling us that sheriffs throughout California are conservative, and the show's mission is going to be let's turn California red again because of stuff like this.
I think the state of California, and frankly, I've traveled quite extensively. I'm probably way more than most people. And Tom, you've traveled quite a bit more recently with me as well. And Tom, we've had lots of conversations with people, not just at the places where we're going to be, but on the streets and in restaurants and everything else. And I think America as a whole, and California even goes along with this, is far more red than people want to believe it is, or excuse me, far more red than the media wants you to believe it is. And so they're out there gaslighting you. And I was talking to David Bowen yesterday, and again, he's going to be a guest on our show coming up.
He's a professor at Grand Canyon University.
That's right, and he runs his own podcast as well, phenomenal podcast. But he was talking about a time that Trump came and spoke to a group of pastors. Nobody was allowed. And he said, how dare you guys not speak up? Your voice is loud, especially in a congregation, but you're allowing the 20% of the country to run the entire thing because you won't speak up.
Well, and that's why, Mike, we have to put a little more light on the great state of California, because California is a great state. There's good people there. I didn't leave for any other reason than God moved me to Tennessee, and I can stand here and tell you it's without hesitation that my wife and I moved here, and we're willing to give up everything to move here to get other things, but also make other people's voices that are like-minded louder, because there are people that are wanting to move away from this. Mike, this last week, I don't know if you know about it, but I'm going to help you with your state that you live in. California now forces credit cards to assign special codes to gun stores. 16 other states ban it. What they're trying to do is trying to say, hey, we need you to identify gun purchases for us in California. And if you tell me that they aren't trying to come for our constitutional rights, that there are. And so if you want a guy like this who stands behind things like this, then you might just as well get him. This might be something that you are able to get, because they're going to forget about some of the things that they've done and said. They forget about them quickly, don't they?
They do. And I think anybody across the U.S., I mean, frankly, we go most places. We went to Texas for a while, and they tried to run my wife off the road. I'm guessing that one of the first things you guys did is change your license plates, change your driver's licenses.
Today, Mike, we're going today, because as I was at People Loving Nashville, I pulled my truck out, and one of the guys goes, "Hey," and I thought I did something wrong, and because I possibly did. Because you have the streets blocked off, and I think I backed up.
You do something wrong? Nah.
And so I did have to go against the flow, but it was the closed roads, so I think it was okay for us. He said, "You're probably wanting to get that license plate taken off of your vehicle." And I go,
the thing is, none of the other states want Californians to come there, and I'm sure they're welcoming Californians like you and I, but until they know, they're like, "Oh, you have a California license plate. All we know is you're from California. We don't want your kind here." But yet they're trying to push this agenda of Gavin being the president, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I very much think that in the next election round, they're definitely going to raise that flag and try to get Gavin to run. But there's something else that's been kind of on my mind, Tom, and I had a couple conversations about this recently. They've been talking about Trump and the supposedly, which this isn't true, but I'm going to say it anyway. Supposedly, he's changed his stances on a few things, including abortion, because he said, "I don't want to have a federal abortion ban." Well, if you haven't been paying attention, he hasn't changed his stance on that either, because he's always said from day one, the whole reason that the Supreme Court changed things is not because he wanted to ban it federally. He wanted it to be a state decision, because by law, and that's what it should be, there shouldn't be a constitutional ban on, there should be, in my opinion, but there shouldn't be supposedly a constitutional ban on abortion or allowance of abortion per the SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, for those who aren't familiar with what SCOTUS means. But it should be up to the states. And that's, so Trump hasn't changed his position on that. He's been consistent on that. And I was sharing with Ludavia, and if you guys get a chance to get out there and hear Trump speak, do it, because there's one thing on listening to him on the radio or listening to him on TV. But when I've had several opportunities to hear him speak in person, because I've traveled quite a bit. This is kind of our chosen career path and everything else. But you get to realize that he's just a real genuine person. And a lot of the things that they try to take out of context, a lot of the things they try to accuse him of saying, he's saying jokingly or sarcastically. He's just and that's why I relate, because I'm super sarcastic myself. But but a lot of the things that, oh, look what Trump said. Well, he's just being a real human. And for being a billionaire, he's not in the billionaire boys club. He's more of a good old boy than he is. He just happened to have been one of the most successful good old boys that ever existed.
Well, he's very smart. I love, have you heard about, Joe Biden said he'd play golf with him. So Donald Trump invited Joe to play golf. And
you like that? Stop being a child.
But it's important, Mike, that we let people know, because Trump did say, let the states be the states. And he's been consistent with this, because that was a point that I've always been, it kind of peeves me, is when people lie and say they didn't say it. So I don't know if you saw an interview with Chris Cuomo. Remember Chris Cuomo? Yeah. And there was a comedian, Dave Smith. And Dave Smith basically called him out and said, you need to apologize to Joe Rogan because you called him, said that he was stupid. Because Joe Rogan was talking about other treatments for COVID. And then Chris Cuomo started to argue. So it was on David Bett's show.
Okay,
so,
David.
Yeah. And so basically they played the clip where he said that. And I don't know if Chris Cuomo didn't think they had it, but they will go that far to lie when it's on video. That's why I can't believe that Sleepy Joe still gets away with his racist comments back when he was in, just as a congressman. I mean, he had such terrible of a political record. I mean, he always has none. He's been in 40 years, and but he just was a fair weathered person. He just went with the weather, whatever the way the wind blew, he went. And then he lied about not doing. It's like, my son didn't commit anything. Well, he did. We didn't spend any money from China. Well, you did. But Chris Cuomo said it too. And this comedian called him on it, and they played a video. So if you don't keep reminding people, they will just decide to say, I didn't say that. And they're totally okay with that. That bothers me. It's a pet peeve of mine. Be a man, have a set, step up and say, I was wrong. And this is what this comedian Dave Smith said. He said, why can't you say you were wrong? They just can't say it because there's pride. And the Bible says pride comes before the fall. Humility comes before excellence.
Well, and now pride comes before the summer.
Comes all the time. It does. Mike, hey, we've had a great show. I can't believe that we've been on for 60 minutes.
Right.
And, why don't you tell them anything you want to? We've got a couple great guests coming on tomorrow and then on Friday, and we're so excited about the Turning Point relationship and watching what God has in store for us in 511 Media. There again, the one thing that I'm going to say and keep our show always biblically based, because we are, is that the show that I have, and I'm going to be bringing it back, Mike, I've got up to 20 morning pumps now.
Awesome.
Based on 1 Thessalonians 5:23, mind, body, and spirit, because they are connected. If you aren't focused on all of those, you're going to leave a third of yourself behind. But we also want to say that, you can basically have an attitude, if you seek to save your life, you'll lose it. But if you lose your life for Jesus Christ's sake, you'll save it.
Yep. So what I want to say to you guys is, number one, get out there and vote early. Use your mail-in ballots. Number two, if you're out there watching, check out the Believer Summit. We got a link to the registration there. We're going to be dropping the video later. Hashtag 511 Media in the comments on whatever platform you're on to be entered in the opportunity for the drawing for the VIP ticket. Again, you guys will love the VIP ticket. Other than that, if you want the 25% code, it's 51125. So thank you guys for watching. We're going to be back with more content. We're going to keep pumping it out to you every day from here on, Monday through Friday. And we're coming to a radio station near you very soon. We're working on details on that, but we'll be releasing that as soon as we can. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you. God bless.